Cindy.
Hi.
My name is Pam. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, did you find the place okay?
Yeah, I did, thank you.
That's good. That's good. Can you believe the weather we're having?
I know, it was not fun waking up this morning to that.
No, snow. I can't say that I was 100% prepared for that.
Me neither.
Yeah, but I guess it happens.
Yep.
So have you ever been to therapy before?
No, I have not.
Okay, so just to let you know that here at Durham College Counseling Services, it is a free and voluntary service. So you can choose to continue as much as you like, or as long as you like.
Yeah.
I am a counselor in training, a student counselor in training, so I do work with an advisor to help ensure that you get the best possible care.
Okay.
So are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, having said that, we do our very best and most individuals benefit from the service. However, due to factors that we can't control, we cannot guarantee that your situation will improve. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about confidentiality.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So basically, it means that whatever we talk about doesn't leave this room, with the exception of my student advisor. And we treat it very seriously. However, there are a few circumstances where confidentiality will have to be breached.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go through them with you.
Okay.
So the first one is if you sign a release form to release information to another individual, like a doctor or another counselor or an agency or organization. Okay. The second one is if as a student I get subpoenaed to court, then I would have to share your information in court. Also, if I believe that you are a danger to yourself or to others, then I do have a duty to report. Children as well, if you tell me anything of a child that's being abused or in danger, then I have a duty to report that to CAS. Excuse me. And the last one is if you are being sexually abused by another practitioner, like a doctor or a psychiatrist, then I have a duty to report that as well. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay,
It does.
great. And you've understood everything? Do you have any
Yes.
questions?
No.
Okay, then I will get you to sign this form and we'll get started. All right. Sign. Okay. Okay. So, what brings you in today, Cindy?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Just basically everyday stresses. I'm a single mom to 3 kids and I've just recently gone back to college now, so I'm having a hard time adjusting being the mom and a college student. And I'm trying to finally live life for myself too, not always put my kids first, which is a hard thing to do as a mom.
Yes. Wow, college.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you have 3 kids
Yes.
and you just started college.
Yes.
What program are you taking?
Social service worker.
Oh, that's interesting. So how are you finding the balance between your children and having a life for yourself
It's
and
hard.
schoolwork?
It's
Yeah.
hard. I always feel something's being left on the back burner type of thing.
Okay.
Usually, housework.
Yeah. Yeah. So housework maybe isn't your highest priority.
No.
So I'm hearing that your children and taking time for yourself is
Yes.
more important than, say, housework.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying, my oldest has moved out, so now it's just 2 that I have to concentrate on.
Okay.
But my youngest goes to bed at 6:30, so I'm like, I could start homework really early, but then my teenager wants all my attention.
Oh.
She doesn't want anything to do with me until it's his bedtime, and then she comes downstairs.
So how old is your daughter?
13.
13. Okay. So when you say she wants your attention, what kind of things do you do with her after you put your son to bed?
Usually it's just to talk and hang out,
Okay.
but our interests are very different, so I just feel like going,
I can imagine. So how do you find they're different? I mean, between a 13-year-old and yourself.
Well, she listens to a bunch of K-pop, which is Korean music, and
Okay. Korean music?
yes,
Okay.
boy bands, but they sing Korean.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I took her to a concert Friday, and it's not very fun.
So that's not necessarily something that you're interested in,
Yeah.
the Korean music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do it for the kids, right?
Yes, yes.
But then my life is getting put on hold, but I know as a mom that's what you're supposed to do, but it's not really. You're supposed to put yourself first.
So how would you put yourself first? What kinds of things would you do that would make you feel that you're putting yourself first?
Well, college is one thing that I've done for myself.
Yeah, that's great.
It's huge
Yeah.
work. And then, I don't know, hang out with friends that I don't usually get to. Go out once in a while, but forget that I'm a mom for a couple of hours.
That's definitely important.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing that that your son goes to bed early and then you spend time with your daughter, is that correct?
Yes.
So how do you find you're managing, like where do you find the time to get your schoolwork done and see your friends? Like do you have any help outside?
My sister will help sometimes, but usually I'm falling asleep doing homework at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Good for you for going to school. That's a great accomplishment.
Thank you.
So how do you find, like how have you been managing? How do you find that you've been getting, I'm assuming you're getting your work done and are you doing fairly well in school?
I am, thankfully.
That's great.
But that's how I've set high expectations for myself, so I'll do just about what I have to get those marks.
I think that's a great quality for sure.
Well, thank you.
That you're putting your children first and also yourself and educating yourself. I think those are all great qualities.
Thank you. You need to be in my head to tell me.
Well, there are definitely some strategies that we can do to help you with, self-talk or being positive. Like, do you find that, is it stress that's the most
Yeah, it's
challenging?
like everything's so overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, overwhelming?
But it's just sometimes, like, especially coming up to the last month of the semester, there's just so much at once now, when we have assignments due every few days, it feels like, and then studying for these big tests. So it's trying to organize all that and still enjoy life.
Yes. So you have assignments and tests, plus your children to look after.
Yeah.
And self-care, enjoying your life. So how do you find you're managing the time? Like what does a typical day look like in terms of school and your family?
Well, I'm up at 5 o'clock to get myself ready, and my youngest is usually up just shortly after me, so there's no free time there.
Okay.
Then we're out of the house by 7:15, in class for 8, and then I come home and I try to do work then, but a lot of times I end up napping.
Okay.
And then try to do some housework and gotta start dinner, and then my kids come home, and then it's dinner, bath, their homework, story time. Then my youngest goes to bed, and then that's when my middle wants attention, so it's entertaining her for a while. And then I try to watch TV for a bit, and then I'm like, oh, I should be doing homework. So I feel guilty for not doing homework, then I'll do homework, and then I'll usually fall asleep again.
Wow, that sounds like a busy day for sure. What time does your daughter go to bed?
10:30.
Okay, so you have, and what time do you go to bed?
Depends. It
Depends.
changes.
So you have some time after she goes to bed to sort of relax, watch TV, do some, some time
And that's
for
what
you.
I've always tried to do, because I always need my quiet time at night, but now being mentally exhausted from going back to school, I find myself falling asleep on the couch before she even goes to bed.
Okay, so that sounds like quite a busy schedule. Good for you, and you're doing well in school, so that's excellent that you've been able to manage your family and your personal life and your schooling. That's a really great strength.
Thank you.
For sure. So I'm hearing that so it sounds like you've got a lot going on. You have 3 children, you have schoolwork, you have a social life, and spending quality time with your children is a priority for you. Is that right? Okay. So maybe we can talk about some sort of stress management techniques, or I know that there are programs in the school where you can meet with someone who can sort of give you some guidance in terms of, I don't know, studying it more efficiently, or, managing your time.
Okay.
Does that sound like something you might be
It does. I had
interested in?
no idea they offered that.
All right, that sounds great. Yeah. Oh my god, it's only 10 minutes. Okay, we might have to find another.
I don't know.
So your children are they doing well though in school?
Yeah, my daughter's starting to slack a little now, but
Okay.
I think that comes with her age, though.
Yeah, a teenager,
Yeah.
right? 13, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my youngest is actually getting an award tomorrow. I don't know for what yet, though. So
Oh,
and this is the problem where I have balancing things because now I have to leave class early tomorrow, so I don't miss out on the award.
Yeah, that sounds a little difficult.
Yeah. Because he's very high emotional needs, so if I miss out on that,
Yeah.
it'll ruin his life.
Oh, ruin his life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you said he has high emotional needs?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
he's very sensitive,
Okay.
and he has sensory processing issues,
Okay.
and I think that he's high functioning autistic.
Okay. So you think he hasn't been officially diagnosed? It's just something.
No,
Okay.
he's been diagnosed with anxiety disorders.
Okay. So how do you manage the anxiety? Does he have help outside of school or at
No.
school? No.
Not really.
Okay. So
At school, because of his anxieties, he's a perfect little kid.
what do you mean by perfect little kid?
Because one of his anxieties is social anxiety, so he doesn't like attention put on him at all.
Oh.
So he's very obedient at school.
Okay. So he follows the rules at school, so he
Yeah.
doesn't get any attention put on him
Yeah.
in terms of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So what's he like at home?
Total opposite.
Total opposite. Okay. So meaning
He's a handful.
he's a handful. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by a handful?
He doesn't listen hardly at all, and like I say, he's very emotional. So even like I forgot yesterday what happened, but I'm like, Jackson, like you can't do that. And then he starts crying, tells me that I've hurt his feelings, and then once he starts in his meltdowns, they go for like a good hour.
An hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So do you just kind of let the meltdown happen, or how do you sort of cope?
Well, I've bought him a rocking chair and a trampoline in hopes that will help, but it doesn't usually, so I just let him ride it out.
So, what does he do for the hour?
He'll cry, he'll throw himself on the ground if he wants to, and he'll scream and kick, cry.
And you just, what do you do when he's doing that?
A lot of time, if I can't calm him down, I'll just go sit outside or somewhere where it's quiet.
Okay. And what about your daughter? What does she do when he's melting down?
She's always upstairs in her room.
Oh, okay. The teenager.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
That's the one good thing about teenage years is you rarely see the children.
Okay, so she's kind of in her room. She's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
I guess waiting for him to go to sleep, as he said, so she can have some time to listen to music or socialize with you. So how do your kids feel about you being in college? How has that transition gone from being? Were you at home before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah, I
were staying
spent
at home.
10 years at home.
Oh, 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, and now transitioning into college. How do you find, the family has adjusted to that?
They're doing better than I expected, but the schedule at school is great. So I leave early 3 days a week. So my daughter's old enough and responsible enough. I wake her up before I go, and then she's out the door on time. And then my youngest goes to my mom's, so he loves that. So.
Okay, well that's good. That's good that you have your mom to help you.
And then most days 4 out of 5 days I'm home before they're out of school, so I still get to go pick them up from school.
Okay. Well, that's great. That seems like the school schedule sort of fits nicely with your mom's schedule. For lack of a better word.
It worked out great that way.
Yeah. Awesome. So you said that your son was winning an award tomorrow, or getting an award tomorrow. What was the award for?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. A surprise award.
Yeah. And he has no idea either.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, how do you think he'll react? Like, with the
With the
anxiety
award.
and the attention on him?
He hates it.
Okay.
He's proud of himself because he won one last year too, and he's proud of himself, but he has to stand up in front of the whole school
Yeah.
to get it and shake the teacher's hands, and he doesn't like that too much.
Okay, but you have experience from last year.
Yeah.
So you're going more as a supportive role and not because you're worried about the
Yeah.
reaction. Okay, well that's great, that's awesome. It sounds like, you know, you mentioned that your son has these behavioral problems, anxiety, and you think he might be on the spectrum for
Yeah.
autism. But it sounds like you're handling that really well, because I imagine it might be hard for you to deal with sometimes,
It is,
meltdowns,
yes.
like you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. It sounds like you're managing school and your children, and you said you wanted to take time for you.
Yes.
So where do you find the time for that? Like, do you go out on the weekends, or do you have?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned
It's
that.
hard,
Yeah.
especially because being so exhausted from everything. Usually, even if my sister takes my youngest,
Mhm.
I'm too tired to go out and do anything.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll sneak out here and there after he's sleeping.
So you mentioned that you have your mom to look after your son in the mornings, and you have your sister. That's great that you have family support.
Yeah.
I imagine that that's really helpful as you're starting this.
It can
You
be.
know,
It comes with a cost though, because they live like 4 houses down from me, and I have a nephew and a niece who both live there. Because both my sisters and my mom live together.
Oh, okay.
So it's always like the last 3 days, my nephew's wanted to come over to my house. And my niece is older, she's my daughter's age. She'll come and go all the time, and I'm just like, go away. So I have them more than they have my child.
Okay. So the cost is that, you know, they're looking after your children, but you're also looking
Yeah.
after your sister's children.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that more of like an afternoon thing, or are they there in the evenings?
My niece will be in the evening. She waits till after dinner time.
Okay.
My nephew comes over until dinner time.
Okay.
It's
For
like
dinner?
watching-
How old are your niece and nephew?
My niece is 12 and my nephew is 6.
Okay.
So my niece is 1 year younger than my daughter, and my nephew is 1 year older
Okay.
than
So,
my son.
so do they get along well, like your children and your niece and nephew?
For the most part, a lot of times they fight like they're siblings because they've grown up so close to each other.
Okay. So what kinds of things would they fight about?
The boys will fight over about anything. One looks at one the wrong way, and that's it. Lately, it's the Minecraft controllers. Who
Okay.
wants what controller?
Minecraft, yes, I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the girls, they fight over which boy band's better and cuter.
very serious topics.
Yep, they think so.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that my daughter likes to talk to me about. After Jackson goes to bed, she wants to talk about this stuff. I'm like, no.
Talk about which boy band is better. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a very busy household.
Yes,
So,
it can be.
so wow, you've got a lot on your plate, Cindy. You have 3 kids. You just started college. Your son has some behavioral issues that you're managing with, and did a bird fly in here? So you've got your kids, so your son. The good news is that he goes to bed fairly early,
Yes,
so then you
it's a
get some.
lifesaver.
Yes, definitely. So you've got some time with your daughter, and then after she goes to bed, you've got some time to yourself. So providing that you can stay awake, that seems to be enough time to get your schoolwork done and assignments. And are you finding that the workload is manageable?
Yes and no. Like, they're not overly well, they're stressful, but it's not like it's big assignments we have to do. It's not like it's 20 pages or anything.
Okay.
It's just everything's thrown at us once.
What do you mean by that? Thrown
Like,
at you at once?
Because we're in the last few weeks now, so it's like next week we have so many assignments and a test. The week after we have this and that, and then now we're all getting into group and partner assignments too. So it's trying to get the schedule to work out with the group partners and stuff.
Okay.
So now it's mine and my kids' schedule. Now I've got to work with other people's schedule too.
Oh, that sounds challenging.
Yeah.
So when does your semester end?
Middle of December.
Okay. Okay, so from now until the middle of December, you've got assignments and tests, you've got your kids' schedule, you've got group work, so you're working with other people's schedules. So it sounds like you're kind of, you know, in a race
Yes,
kind of
that's how it feels.
yeah, till December. But so you have support from your mother and your sister. That's great. And, your schedule seems to be working well with your children's school and your school. You mentioned that you're home on time to pick them up and be there at the end of the day. Your son's early bedtime is definitely beneficial.
Yes.
So it sounds like, you know, you've got a lot of strengths and a lot of support during this time that's going to be difficult until the middle of December. Does that sound? Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, Cindy, I do notice that we're almost at the end of our session, so I'd love to continue this, you know, another time if you're willing to come.
Yes,
as I said,
fit you in somewhere.
Okay, yeah, you can fit me into your busy schedule. If not, you know, we can always revisit this in the middle of December and see how you've managed and how the end of your semester went. And I'd love to hear about, you know, your son's award, and I'm sure things will get busy in terms of Christmas shopping and planning.
Thankfully, I'm halfway done Christmas shopping.
Oh,
so.
That's great. So it seems like you're ahead of the game there.
Yeah. For now I'm like, oh, now I still have so much to do.
I hear you. Okay, well, it was great meeting you, and hopefully I'll see you again.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye.